What's up, Fantastic Geeks? Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 Fantastic Four comic run recommendations. So if you want to get into reading Fantastic Four, these are the ones I recommend personally, and they are some of my favorites, so there might be a little bit of bias in there. So coming in at number 5 is Fantastic Four Life Story. This is a mini-series of sorts. There's only like 5 or 6 issues, but it's kind of like a period piece in a way, kind of like WandaVision, the TV show was. It starts in the 60s and it goes through the decades and kind of retells the Fantastic Four's history in a way that's similar but different from what we know. So I really like this run because it's an entirely different take on their history, and we get to see different elements of these characters. So given that their origin is from the 60s, so this issue in particular starts in the 60s, of course. So I highly recommend this. It's a fun read and it's a quick one, so you can get through it pretty quickly. Coming in at number 4 is another one of my personal favorites, is the John Byrne of Fantastic Four run. And the reason why I like this one so much is because of like all the other Marvel heroes in the Marvel universe, the Fantastic Four, they've been through a lot, and in this run in particular, they go through it. More specifically, my girl, Invisible Woman. So, I'm not to spoil it for anybody if you haven't read it, but just I will say that she goes through so much emotionally and physically in this comic, and it really changes how she sees the world and like everything else around her. It really changes her perspective on things, and it's pretty much like an evolution of her personality, her like belief, I guess, and she just goes through this whole transformation from Invisible Girl, which is how she started, to Invisible Woman, which is what she's known as now. So I highly recommend this run. I love John Byrne's work. I think he did a great job with this and with these characters. So coming in at number 3 is Mark Waid. Mark Waid's run of Fantastic Four was actually, now that I think about it, one of the first Fantastic Four stories that I read. It was only later on that I went back and tried to get the Silver Age Fantastic Four comics. But I think I'm pretty sure this one was one of the first Fantastic Four stories that I read, and I fell in love with them. After reading this run, it's still one of my favorites to go back to and reread sometimes. It's very fun, like very good story. Once again, they go through so much in this story, and I think he did a great job of showcasing the family dynamic, as dysfunctional as it can be sometimes. I think Mark Waid did a great job on showing that and telling that. So Mark Waid's run is definitely one of the top 3 that I would recommend. So for the top 2, I had a very hard time deciding which one I liked more, because it's basically classic versus modern here. So coming in at number 2 is Jonathan Hickman's run, and it's once again one of my personal favorites, and I just think it's just a really, really great Fantastic Four story. Like, he, once again, with Mark Waid, he also showcased the family dynamic really well, despite everything that happens in this story. It's a pretty long run if you include the Future Foundation story arc too, but they go through a lot in this one too. It's substantial. Let me just say that. So, like, I think the artwork is great, the story's great, the arcs, the personal character arcs for each of them are just spot on. So I couldn't recommend this run enough. Before I get into my number 1 recommendation, I want to say a few honorable mentions real quick. This run is by James Robinson. It's another more modern Fantastic Four story. They go through a lot of change in this one. Like, you can see their uniforms are red instead of blue. They just, like I said, they go through a lot of change, and it's sometimes really difficult to read. Well, not difficult to read, but difficult to see these characters go through this. So James Robinson, I think, did a decent job with these characters. One who also did a really great job with the Fantastic Four is another more modern run or take on Fantastic Four, and that is Ryan North's run, which is the most recent comic run of Fantastic Four. Once again, the story, not just telling the story of all of them as a group and a family, but telling each individual character arc throughout this run has been a highlight for me. I like how Ryan North has progressed each character into something that we haven't seen before previously, and they've kind of he's elevated them to a whole nother level pretty much, and that's something I really appreciated about this run in particular. So highly recommend reading this. Another run one of my personal favorites is the Marvel Knights Fantastic Four run, and I think this run in particular is very underrated in my opinion. So the author takes us to a whole nother side of these characters and puts them in a whole different situation that they're not used to, and without giving anything away, I just think that it was really interesting to read. It's a fun read. The family dynamics there, just the artwork is great too. I love this artwork, and I recommend this definitely. Last honorable mention is Tom DeFalco's Fantastic Four run. So again, they go through it in this run for sure. Whenever Galactus and the Watcher show up, that's usually never a good sign. So highly recommend this one as well. Getting into my number 1 recommendation for Fantastic Four comic runs is, of course, going back to the classics, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four run from the 60s, and I'm not just talking about the Coming of Galactus trilogy, which is, in my opinion, one of my personal favorite stories in Fantastic Four history, but like even going back to Fantastic Four #1, like you can't beat the classics, and it's for a very good reason. And so if you're able to read Stan Lee's amazing Fantastic Four run, highly, highly, highly recommend it. Like you can't not read it at some point. It's just too good to pass up. So if you can get your hands on this, definitely should. If there's any other comic recommendations that you think that I should talk about or discuss with me, just let me know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching.